Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Happy Wednesday. All right. Wednesday, August 18th for all of you. Hope you guys are having a great week and staying safe out there. Okay, so I'm going to start off. I sent an email last night for you to the team. So Craig mentioned this yesterday, and we'll probably do some follow up on this. This is an RSVP required training. It's a peak performance workshop. This is a free workshop that you can get from Tony Robbins, national certified trainer Stephen Hilgart. Stephen has come into our office plenty of times over the last 4 or 5 years and done different group trainings and peak performance workshops with the team before. He also gives you an opportunity to, you can basically get a free program out of it. So he basically is going to give you some free things. They usually have some of Tony's programs that you can get into, like unlimited power, things like that. He also is going to give you some discounts and deals to go to the UPW event. They have one. They're starting those back live November 11th to the 13th, I believe it is. So it's during the time of our top agent retreat in Hawaii, but it'll be in Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. And they also do them virtual, so you don't even have to go to Miami. This event is an event that has changed so many aspects of my life, my mindset, and how I view things. And it's spurred on a different type of growth and a different inquisition into a lot of other sides of what I'm looking into and researching and reading and just getting to be a part of. So it's an amazing event. It's an awesome event. If you're looking for something to give you a spark, if you're looking for something to give you a change, please come here. RSVP. September 1st at 2 p.m. is when he's going to have this peak performance workshop. And it's going to be about an hour long. He'll have some giveaways and have some discounts for some of the programs that they offer. And again, it's just an amazing, awesome opportunity to constantly learn from somebody else. And Stephen is an amazing, energetic person to learn from. So that's one thing for you. This email was sent out yesterday. So please go here, click on that. And when you click on that, it's going to bring you to a page to RSVP for the event for September 1st at 2 p.m. So that'll be available to you guys. Please do that. We'll probably put some more information out on that. What we're going to continue on with is discussion on sellers, influencing sellers, winning listings, influencing sellers. We talked a lot about commissions yesterday, about different objections and why we stand our ground at 6%. I'm going to continue on with some other aspects of that. I would love if everybody online, if you can chat in any questions that you have, any objections that you faced, or any struggles that you have, or any even mental blocks that you have with approaching a seller with a certain attitude, a certain perspective, a certain pitch to them whenever they're coming at you with an objection. So I'm going to talk a little bit about earning their trust in the beginning, how you can go through this process, and we'll talk about also influencing them through the objection. So please chat in. Let me know if you have any concerns, issues, objections that you can't get over, or things that you've done, and we'll give you some feedback on that. So when you're trying to influence somebody, the whole process, before we even get to objections, before we even get to commission objections, time frame objections, price objections, any of those things, before you even get to that, if you're having too many objections, it's because you missed an opportunity to build the trust in the beginning. Typically, when you build that trust and you create the ultimate process from start to finish, you are leading them up to that predictable result, which is a signed contract where they're pretty much in agreement, or the two of you are in agreement with where everything is going to lie, and there are very few objections. So if you notice, one of the stories I've told before, and I'll explain more about the commission side of it later, is the very beginning, the very first conversation that I had with a seller a few weeks ago, one of the very first things they said in the first conversation. So this is how powerful the trust can be. In the very first conversation, he says, I'm just going to say this and put it out there. I'm finding it really hard to pay 6% to somebody with the market the way that it is. And I have all my neighbors telling me that I should list it for this or do it by owner and do that. And don't pay this, don't pay that. He goes, so I'm finding it really hard to pay 6% to an agent. So I'm just going to say that up front. It is what it's going to be, and we'll deal with that later. But I just want to make sure that's out there. I don't want it to become an issue during the rest of this. And I went through and I, first of all, aligned with him to try and build that trust and hope that he sees that I understand where he's at. And then from that point of building that trust, it never came up again. It was never an issue again. So this guy literally throws his objection out there. We align with him, build the trust, tell the stories, get him on board with our process. And through the rest of that process, did not even come up one more time. Did everything that we asked him to do, hired a pressure washer, hired a landscaper, hired a stager, did some repairs, pulled everything out of the way, got everything cleaned up and nice so that we can get it on the market, agreed to do everything that he could with the showings and the open houses and everything. Commission was never an objection, signed every single document, not a single point, not a single question, not even, hey, remember when we talked about the commission, I really appreciate you taking the time and I don't have any issue. It was never even an issue again. So that's how powerful trust can be with a seller whenever you are able to build and make that strong connection with them. When you understand their visual, auditory, kinesthetic, when you understand their DISC, and you can connect with them because people like people who are like themselves. And whenever you can make yourself a little bit more like them and you can align with them, label the situations, align with them, and use these skills to connect, you build a better trust with them and it will not be an issue. So that's the first thing. Before we even get to that, we need to start really focusing on the connection point. Look, so a seller's going to sell whenever they're ready to sell. Your job is to communicate and connect with them and to be in a position to get in the way when the time comes. That's your job. You're not going to influence them to sell before they're ready. You're not going to make them put their property on the market before they are ready. So stop pushing, and your job is to connect. You're not there to push them to get the home on the market, to show them all this stuff with the intent of getting their home on the market. Your job is to connect and communicate with them, to build that trust with them, and provide more value than anybody else around them, anybody else in their neighborhood, anybody else in their sphere, anybody else that's close to them. So they need to like you, know you, and trust you before they will give you the opportunity to earn their business. If they don't like you, you're not going to earn that business. If they don't trust you, you're not going to earn their business. And if they don't know that you care, you are not going to earn their business. So that's what it's really about. We're so focused on the objection, the 4%. Homes are going to sell so quickly. Well, they don't need me. They can sell it on their own. They could save all this money. We're so focused on all of those things that we forget about the simple fact that, look, we have to be able to connect with them first before we can have any influence over them. And when you hear the statement, though, your reputation precedes you. And not only that, but your energy and your anxiousness, and that precedes you as well. So if you go into the situation not looking to build the trust, not looking to connect with them, you go in with that anxiousness about the objections, that's going to precede you. They're going to feel that. It's going to create a more of an issue for you moving forward through that. You are never going to sell them unless you connect with them. Absolutely, Joe. That's correct. You are never going to. And what is selling? Selling is just influencing them. That's it. You're not going to sell them on anything that they aren't already sold on, but you can influence them. People buy with emotion and justify with logic. That's a little later on here, but people buy with emotion and justify with logic. How can you affect their emotional reactions? Connect with them, understand and listen to them to see what it is that means something to them, and then you can have a different influence on them. You're never going to be able to sell anybody or influence somebody until you connect with them. So use all your tools available to you. Use your DISC, use your VAK, use mirror and matching, use body language, use eye contact, use all of these things. This is where your power is. Stop focusing on the sale, stop focusing on the objection, stop focusing on the process and the script because you should already know those things, and focus on the individual. Use your skills to connect with this person. If you're on the phone, use your tonality, Watch the speed of your words. I have a tendency, and I get told this a lot, I have a tendency to talk too fast. So especially in meetings like this or in certain trainings or coachings, I will say I can go too fast. So one thing I have to be cognizant of is slowing down and matching the tempo of the person on the other side. So just using these skills, all of these skills together to make that connection. So, and this is a long-term play. So you're going to need to follow up. You're going to need to have a system. You're going to need to have a CRM. You're going to need to have all of those things. And you aren't going after the listing. You're going after the connection. If you are not using a CRM, if you are not scheduling your follow-ups, if you are not doing those things, you're going to lose out. You're going to potentially miss it. We've all even had those moments where we've had a moment where you're sitting there one day and you're in the middle of doing things and all of a sudden you go, oh man, I forgot to follow up with that person. Or I forgot to touch base with that buyer. Or I forgot to call this person back. Or you get a text message from someone and the text message is, hey, I thought you were going to start sending me some. Oh man, I forgot about that. We've all had those moments where we had the oh shit moment, like, oh darn it. So using a system, getting into a CRM, following up, scheduling emails, scheduling reminders, scheduling phone calls, scheduling those things is absolutely key. And then taking really good notes. The same reason that we ask people that when you're using OpCity, they ask you to add notes all the time, and Zillow asks you to add notes, Zap asks you to add notes. There's a reason for all that. Adding notes creates a more of a connection there. Adding those notes is that reminder. Adding notes is something else that I can touch on next time I talk to them. Putting those notes in are going to help with all those reminders for you. So as you're making these connections and as you're talking to these people, you have to become the most valuable person in this person's world, in this seller's world. You need to become the most valuable person in their sphere, in their world, in their neighborhood as an agent. And you're going to be compensated in direct proportion to the amount of value that you provide. So you need to start asking yourself that question instead of, how do I get the listing? How do I get the listing? How can I do this? How can I get it on them? How can I make them see that they're going to this? You need to start asking yourself, what's in it for them? That big question, what's in it for them instead of what's in it for me getting the listing, getting it on the market and being able to help them? What's in it for them? How can I become more valuable to this person that's sitting across from me than any other agent around? You have to lose your commission breath. They can smell it. They know that. Your reputation precedes you. Your energy precedes you. When you come in with that kind of attitude, they see it, they know it, they feel it. They know what you're after. They know you're not after to help them. You're there for the commission. You're there for the sale. They can see it, they can tell it. So lose the commission breath, start focusing on them as an individual and connecting with them. Become the most valuable agent in the neighborhood. How can you provide more value to everyone in that neighborhood? We'll talk about that. We'll expand on that in a little bit. Ask the big question, what's in it for them? And the law of reciprocity says that you must give something before you can get something. So give it all away. Why do you think we made the for sale by owner guide? The FSBO guide is a gift. It is something that you can give away. It's a value add. It's a free product that you have, that you are giving away all of your trade secrets as to how you sell a home and what you would do and how it would happen. They're not going to do it. How many times have you watched a YouTube video on how to do something and you got 2 or 3 steps into it, or watched the whole entire video and like, oh yeah, I'm not going to do that. No, no way. Sometimes we try it. We try it with something simple, but usually when you try it, there's little risk. You don't stand the potential to lose $10,000 to $15,000, $20,000. You don't stand to put yourself in a position where you're navigating, negotiating through the most expensive asset, the largest asset that you'll ever own. It's a simple little video that you can sit down and watch. And yeah, and half the time we go, oh yeah, I'm not going to mess with that. You put it off, or you just call someone and hire somebody. It happens all the time. Chris, when I tell my daughter she's talking too fast, her response is, I'm not talking too fast, you're just listening slow. Yeah, that's, I've tried that one before. It didn't go over too well. If you listen a little faster, I won't have to slow down so you can catch up. So yeah, you have to, how many times have you done, we give it all away, give everything away for value, give away that for sale by owner package, your keys to how to sell your home on your own. Give that away, give everything of value away. Tell people, show them what their home is worth. Give them all of the information that you have. Give it all away, because as you give more, you become more valuable to them. They'll start using you as a resource. And so what, wherever they end up going is fine, because you were able to help them and you provided value to them and probably some other people around you. So niche down to a micro market and become a master. If you want to become more valuable than anybody else in any other area, niche down into a specific market, whether it's a social media market, whether it's a farm market, whether it's a FSBO market, whether it's a new construction market, whatever that is, niche down into a specific market. That way you can become an absolute master at everything in that market and really understand everything about that market. And you become that go-to person, that go-to agent for that market or for anybody inside that market. Know everything about that area. If it's a neighborhood, know everything about the HOA, the deed restrictions, know everything about what's included in the neighborhood, what the CDD is, when the last change was, know everything about the number of sales, the absorption rate, know everything about that. If it's for sale by owners, know everything about how many for sale by owners have sold, how many have listed with an agent, look into all that. Know everything about that for sale by owner guide. Be able to provide more value to anybody, to everybody in that market than anybody else. And then if you are going to become more valuable, you have to provide more value that's relatable to them. So in a way, you have to stalk the prospect a little bit. You got to understand who they are, what's important to them, because they're not always willing to give that away up front. So you're looking for points of commonality. Your points of commonality, if you can find 3 points of commonality with somebody, that's going to create a connection. So if you can find them on social media, if you can find them on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is really powerful because right there it automatically tells you, same thing with social media, but LinkedIn more powerful because of job, work, and all that. You have these connections in common. So when I find a connection in common, I could send them, hey, I saw that you've connected with this person in the past, or you know this person from, from my job history, from whatever, and you can have a good conversation about that, or, point that connection out. Social media, find out who else they're friends with. Stalk them a little bit, see what they do, what they did this past weekend, what they like. Provide them something of value and work that into your communication to attempt to influence them a little bit more. Use Remind, use Facebook, use LinkedIn. These tools are extremely powerful, and we're not using them in the capacity that they could be used. So, and now once you're looking through this, knowing that I have to connect with them, I need to become a master of a market. And like, look, I'm going to focus on my connections. I'm going to become a master of a market. Here's all of the different, or just a few different ones, and breaking down how you can become more valuable to them and what you could do for these people. I hope it gives you some ideas of something you could do today in your prospecting, and just in 3 different avenues here: your geographical farm and FSBOs, absentee owners, and high sell scores, someone who's thinking of selling. Here's some ways that you can provide some value to them and things that you can do to give it all away. The for sale by owners, provide the for sale by owner guide. Drop it off. Give them a free CMA. Give them a free staging consultation. Tell them, hey, I saw the photos online and I really think we can maximize a little bit more of the space in your home. Would you mind if I came by, took a look at it? I'd love to offer you a free staging consultation. Here, I'll give your for sale by owner guide away for free. No charge, no anything. I really just want to help you see if you can keep some money in your pocket by selling it on your own. No objections, all connections. I completely understand why you'd want to sell it on your own. I completely understand. I could definitely align with seeing why you'd want to keep that 6% in your pocket. Makes a lot of sense to me. Why don't I see if I can help you out doing that? Give them a free CMA, a net sheet. Get the Paramount Title. They have their app, the fan portal. Put a net sheet together. Provide them a net sheet. Give them a free seller's cost estimator, a free CMA based on the price that they're at. Offer to do an open house. Offer to put together some social media ads out to your friends. Hey, do you have any photos that I can take? I'd love to share your property amongst my sphere of people. I'm going to put it out to them and see if I know anybody that's interested, any specific buyers that I have. Are you willing to offer a buyer's agent commission if I bring you a buyer? Sign this. I'll do an open house. Do the open house for free. I'm just trying to get buyers. Have them sign some type of agreement, like a notice of non-representation, something like that. Provide documents. Give them a copy of a contract. Show them the contract that they're going to use. Tell them the difference between the as-is and a residential contract. If you provide the value, they will start to see you as more valuable. Free review of any contract that they get. If they get a contract, free review. I'll help you review any contract. I can't advise you on anything, but I can advise you as to what those specific things might mean based on the terms of the contract, but I can't advise you of what you should do. Provide a cash offer. We have plenty of opportunities for that. We have so many available opportunities to provide cash offers. Run through the home sale process. Connect them with a title or mortgage company. Have you chosen a title company? Most people are going to put on their seller pick and pay. Do you have a title company? Do you know how much that's going to cost? Here's the cost estimator. There's your title charges. Here's all that. Put it on there. What you can do for absentee owners. How can you become more valuable to them? Free consultation of the property. Hey, I'd love to go by and I'll do a free walkthrough of the property. I'll take some pictures, take a picture of some of the, like the AC, the water heater, the tag that's on there, send you some info, do some research on that, take some photos of the exterior, let you know anything that I see. I also have some contractors that could help you out with that work. Do you have a tenant moving out? Do you want me to do a walkthrough of it for you? I'll provide them with the document. I'll just be there as a liaison, just in the in-between person there. Do you need any help with that? Do you want me to take some photos after they leave? Giving them a free consultation of the property for whatever reason that is. Rent analyze. Are you charging enough rent? Rent prices are changing drastically right now. It just saw a property that the rent increased by 40%. 40% is how much it could have increased because there was no increase on it in so long. So they're probably not charging enough in a lot of ways. So advise them, here's what the rental comps are. This is what you might be able to get. A free CMA to compare the cash out versus the rent. So basically put it together. How long have you owned the property? How much you've been charging rent? What's your cash flow? How long would you have to earn that cash flow to make what you're going to cash out if you sell it? Look, I only ever get paid if I sell a property. I'm a real estate agent, so I only get paid when you sell your property. I'm going to tell you right now, if you never have to sell a property, you probably shouldn't. But for some people, it makes sense right now. Could you use an additional $150,000 to $200,000? How long would it take you to earn that in rental cash flow? A significant amount of time it's going to take you to earn that in rental cash flow, and you need that $100,000 now. So giving them that analysis side by side, what it takes. Hey, let me get you with a mortgage broker. Are you paying too much interest? Is your mortgage in the right position? So here's a lot of ways you can provide some value to these people, and you're not even trying to sell them. You're trying to connect with them and show them that you're a valuable individual. These are long-term plays. You can go straight after them, but you can also go straight after them with the intent of connecting and saying, I want to provide more value. I understand you may not be ready to sell right now, but let me see what I can do to help you out. Free cash offer as well. Eyes and ears on the ground. Not everybody's using a property manager. So, and a lot of people are 45 minutes to an hour away, and it seems close, but when life happens and life goes on and you need to get over to a property, 45 minutes or an hour away becomes a burden. What about your high sell scores or your people that you know that are thinking of selling? Free CMA. Provide them a free CMA. Give them a free cash offer. Get lender contact, refi, or sell. So, hey, let me, in my effort to make sure I provide you with the most amount of value and information, why don't you talk to my lender? Number one, we're going to need to talk to them to see what you're going to be able to buy on the next side. But number two, let's at least, analyze the mortgage that you're in, see if the interest rate is, is too high, too low, see if it makes sense what you're looking for. You might be able to afford more than you really thought because interest rates are so low and what you get out of this one. Let's get you talking with my lender. Let's see where you're at. Do you think that a seller who talks to a lender and gives them all their personal private information, social security number, mortgage payoff, all of that stuff, gives them all of that, tax info, income, do you think that's a good prospect? I think they are. Offer a staging consultation for someone who's got just thinking of selling. Well, let's go through the property. Let's kind of talk. I'll give you some info just in case, no matter what route you go, I'll be able to give you some of this info. Investment strategy, right? Do you want to sell or rent? And also a net sheet, letting them know what they would make of the property if they did sell. So again, how do I provide value? What do I give? Free CMA, SPA, net sheet. Do you need to sell? Let's explore all of our options. What are you planning to do with the money? Don't you think it's a good idea to know what they're planning on doing with the money? If they're not planning on doing anything with the money, maybe we need to explore the other options that keeps some cash flow in their pocket. Let's at least explore all of those. What else can you do for them? Provide market trends. Just listed, just sold. Set them up on an auto search. set them up on an automatic email out of MLS for everything that's just listed or just sold in their neighborhood, in their market, so they could see it as soon as it comes up. They may see the sign first, but they don't know what that price is because it may not have hit Zillow yet because that's what they look at, but it'll hit them from MLS right away. Current market rates, what's going on with interest rates. So social media. So how can you provide value to your sphere, to your people that might be thinking of selling? Home care updates. So you see these all the time from your Business Builder updates, the things that go out from Business Builder, different things to do, different times of year in your home. You've heard Craig mention a bunch of times about flushing a water heater, things like that. Provide that information on your social media once a week. Put something out there. Say, hey, this time of year is really powerful. You really got to make sure that you're keeping on top of your AC, keeping on top of your water heater, keeping on top of this. Have your AC serviced. I had an issue. My AC just started pouring water out of the bottom of it because the drip pan is angled the wrong way and wasn't done correctly. So, but it took 8 years before it happened, but now it starts happening. So there's a lot of things you can give them for updates. Neighborhood groups, garage sales, fundraisers, things like that you can create. New neighbor social. You have a new neighbor that moves in. Wouldn't it be nice to do a little social event, an outside type thing, or maybe do a front yard barbecue? Put something out there and just have some free sodas, hamburgers, and hot dogs for anybody driving in from work, coming home from school, and you sit there, meet your new neighbors. Anything like that. People need I know we're trying to keep social distance, but people need a little bit more of that, of being a little more social sometimes. Here's some more value you can provide. Doing investment workshops, DIY with a favorite contractor, renovations and refinances, leasing opportunities. So letting them know that certain renovations provide more value, letting them know that refinancing and maybe turning it into a rental rather than selling it. You could refinance it like this and put $500-700 a month in your pocket. And if you don't have to sell, does that make more sense than cashing it out? Because do you really need that cash now? If you don't absolutely need it, that might be a better option and you don't have to sell. Do you not think that would be very valuable, especially coming from someone who only gets paid when you sell a property? It's in your best interest to sell it because that's when you'll get paid. But and then you're telling them, hey, why don't this is another option for you. If you don't have to sell, don't. You can put some cash flow in your pocket. So we have landscaping, giving them some people that could do that. Pressure washing, painters, window cleaners. You've got tons of contractors you could hook people up with. The cash offers are always very powerful. And then title, mortgage lender. Those are the people that we need to communicate and talk with. So it's about influencing. Now, once you get to that point where you're starting to go through the process, now it's about influencing them. And when you're influencing them, you have to have some key information. And the way you get that information is by gathering information and asking questions. If you want to know something about a certain person in a situation, you have to ask. That's why our scripts, our pre-qualification scripts, all of the prospecting scripts are a series of questions. How soon do you have, where you plan on moving? How soon do you have to be there? What made you choose this neighborhood? If you a pre-qualification script, how would you rate your home on a scale of 1 to 10? Things like that. It's asking questions. So if we want to know something, ask. So just ask. Continue to ask questions. The more questions you ask, the more you're able to be of service to this person. How long have you lived in the neighborhood? Why'd you choose the area? If you were to move, where would you move next? How soon? Asking those questions, and you're going to start to find a little bit of motivation. Offer them options. I've noticed your home has been vacant for some time. So asking questions, are you looking to cash out, refinance, sell, lease? But asking questions is going to get you more in line with them. So connect with them using DISC, using VAK, ask a lot of questions, get the answers so you can help motivate them, so you can help influence them. And then once you have that connection, these become small. These don't become such big objections, because when you've built the trust with this person, that trust is there. They like you, they know you, they trust you. And they're probably just going to kick the tires a little bit if they're asking any of this. And if you give them a very good, solid answer, it's not going to be an objection. It's literally just, I had to ask. You run into most of these objections with the people that you did not build the trust with, that you went straight in for a listing presentation with, without seeing the property, without asking questions, not having a pre-listing package, not having a contract there, not having any of those connections. You go straight in for a listing presentation after only talking to them once and showing up at their door for a listing presentation. You have 2 contacts with them. When if you follow the system and you ask the questions, build the rapport, use DISC, use VAK, use those things to connect with this person, you've talked to them probably 1, 2, or 3 times prior to that. You've talked to them through your listing pre-qualification. You you set a preview appointment, confirmed your preview appointment. You went for the preview. You sent them the video, that's your listing presentation video. You set the time for your listing presentation. You confirmed the listing presentation. You showed back up for the listing presentation. You have easily 5 to 10 connections and contacts with that person before you even show up for a listing presentation. Those are your opportunities to connect. Every single one of them gives you a better opportunity to connect. And if you ask me, you have a 10 times better chance of getting that listing and not facing these objections, or at least facing them in a smaller light, than the person who just shows up at the door trying to get the listing. Never seen it, never did any of it, just shows up trying to get the listing. So when these objections do come up, here's some of the things. So if you have any other questions, any other objections, or anything that you've run into, or anything you've heard, chat them in now. Let's talk about them a little bit. But we talked about these yesterday, and I'm just going to expand on them a little bit more because we got some great information yesterday, and there's even more things, all different perspectives on this. So why should I pre-inspect my home? Well, you heard us say yesterday, pre-inspecting the home is going to let you know all of the issues, all of the problems out front. And when you start looking at certified pre-loved car, certified pre-loved Lexus versus a normal resale, the price increases, doesn't it? Because they found all the issues, did a 186-point inspection or whatever they did, fixed any of the problems, gave a warranty with it, and said, this is more valuable. And it's about providing value, right? It's the same position to a buyer. You provide more value to them, they will pay more. They will be more connected. They will be more emotionally connected and logically connected to this property because it makes sense. So once we identify and we pre-inspect it, we find all of these issues. The majority of our contracts are going to cancel for one of 2 reasons. Majority. Inspections and financing appraisals. Financing or appraisals. Those 2 reasons are the biggest reasons that anything is going to cancel. If we, Mr. Seller, if we can take 50% of the chance that your property may end up canceling off the table, do you think that would be a good thing to try? Do you think that would put us in a better position if we take that 50% of that opportunity that your contract may cancel, because they generally cancel for 1 or 2 reasons, and it's probably about half of them. What do you think? Do you think that would be a good thing to do? I do. I think that would be a really good thing to try and give an opportunity for him to do that. Number 1. Number 2, Mr. Seller, we're going to be putting your property on the market probably $5,000 to $10,000 higher, maybe even more than what it really, where the value really is. Based on our conversations, the direction of the market, what's pending, we're probably going to be listing it a little bit high. Now, if you were a buyer and you went to buy something and you saw something for sale, said for sale as is, $5,000, but then you saw the same thing right next to it, for sale, fully inspected, everything's been done, here's all this, that, and the other, here's the paperwork, here's this, I'll even make sure that you have a 2-year warranty with it. I'll fix anything that comes up with it. We're selling it for $7,000, has beautiful pictures, has a history of everything that's been done, history of all the repairs and photos of all that. Which one is more valuable? So if you're a buyer looking at it from that perspective, the buyer's going to see more value in your property. And if we're asking them to pay more for the property, this is a good option because they're going to feel more confident paying more for that property. Number 1, so we're going to keep their confidence. We're going to keep the confidence with the property. We're going to keep the confidence with offering that price. And then potentially, the first thing that we want to keep is keep that confidence, because the minute that the first thing goes wrong, we immediately start to lose that confidence. Because what's going to happen? The buyer's going to make an offer on the home. They're going to get the contract. Once they get it under contract, what are they going to hear from everybody? Oh, congratulations, you got a home. Where'd you buy? It's over here. Oh, I think I saw that property. What'd you end up paying for it? Well, we ended up paying, $530 for it. Wasn't it listed at $510 or $515? Yeah, it was. Why'd you pay more for it? Because that's what the market dictated. We really wanted the home. Oh, that's silly. That's crazy. Then you tell your parents. And what do your parents say? We don't overpay for anything in this house. You made a huge mistake. I can't believe you guys, you're going to regret this. Then they're going to tell their friends, and some of them are going to say the same thing. So they're already losing confidence, and we haven't even done anything. They haven't even written a check for escrow yet. We're already losing confidence. But what if they had more things to back that up? No, the home's already been inspected by the owner. They had a whole list of everything, a whole list of the repairs. They're giving you a warranty with it. I could see all of their insurance and bills. I knew exactly where everything's at. It's already lined up. That's all good. What if they had a little more than we just really wanted it and we had to do it that way? Wouldn't that keep their confidence up? So that way, when they stroke the escrow check and they see $10,000 come out of their bank account, they still feel a little more confident. And when they're giving all the documents to the lender 2, 3, 4 times because the processor asked for it and the broker asked for it and then the underwriter asked for it, all different ways, and they're losing confidence there. And then they're wondering, well, why haven't I gotten my approval yet? And they have to give them more documents. And then the inspection that they do, because they'll probably do their own inspection, comes back clean. We keep that confidence. And then when the appraisal comes back a little bit low, we've kept that confidence through this whole process. This isn't just about the inspection. It's about the entire process and keeping that confidence level of this buyer up the entire time to make sure that they are on board, because we've seen it happen time and time again where a buyer agrees to pay $50,000 more than the appraised value. It's listed at $500,000. I'll pay you $550,000. I'll pay $50,000 over the appraised value. The appraisal comes in at $495,000. Guess what? All bets are off. The contract's for $550,000, needing to appraise for $500,000. If it appraises for $495,000, the buyer does not have to move forward because this was my offer. I said I agree to pay $50,000 more than the appraised value to make sure the term of the contract of $550,000 was met. That hasn't been met anymore. I'm not moving forward at $495,000. I'm not going to pay $50,000 more and pay you $545,000. Why? Because I don't have to. And I lost all my confidence through this process because they bought with emotion and now they're justifying with logic. But what if we can get them with emotion and logic up front, keep that logic up top along with the emotion, and when that comes along, they're already on the logical side of things. And they've already logisticized buying the property the way that it is because it's not just an emotional attachment anymore. There's logical attachment there. And they'll say, yeah, we really want it. I mean, because why? It's the only property that had this, that did this, that met that had these things, and there's more value there for us. What if we can keep that? And that's what really this home inspection provides. It provides this confidence level from start to finish because there's so many other things that can go wrong. And we forget about all of that. I share the certified pre-love with the inspector and explain along with the benefit sheet that this helps. Absolutely. So I talked about this yesterday. This was my brief topic. Why should I pay 6%? What about, what's the difference between the 6 and 3%? We went through and explained some of that. It's basically just, look, we're just transparent. I know you saw the ad for the guy, 2% listing service, 2% listing service. Yeah, but what can you really trust a person that advertises? I'm going to charge 2% listing service, 2% listing service. And then when you get in there, you find out that it's really 4%. And you read the fine print and you got to offer, well, we don't, that's not ours. We don't take that. We only charge this. And I know that's what our perspective is as well. It's like, well, I only charge 3%, but let me be fully transparent as to what the process is. We charge 3%. And part of that 3% that you're going to pay us is for marketing and positioning on the market, marketing your property and positioning it for price and all of that. That's where we collaborate. So you're paying us to do those things. And part of that is making an offering to a co-broke. So yes, the total commission is 6%. We're only going to keep 3% of it, but in the marketing aspect of it, we need to market it and we need to make it more marketable to a buyer's agent. As you can see, 75% of all of the homes in this market are offering 2.5% or higher. 2.5% or higher. And I know that company wants to offer 2 or 1.5 or whatever, but less than 25% of all the homes for sale are offering that now. So let me ask you a question. If you were a buyer or a buyer's agent and you had a buyer looking at, or if you were buying a home and you saw 2 of them, and on this one, you knew you got paid $24,000, and on that one paid, 1.5%, $15,000, which one would you have an affinity towards? No matter how hard you tried, which one would you have an affinity towards? So what we're trying to do, we're not only keeping the buyer confidence up with the certified pre-love inspection, we're trying to keep the buyer's agent confidence up because we want them fighting for your property the same way that we're fighting for your property. And if we do things the right way, they'll definitely do that. There's power in making sure we keep everybody on the same team, everybody on the same side. There's power in that. And that's what influence is. That's what sales is. So why should I pay 6% down here and the 4% listing standard? So you get what you pay for. Sometimes you just got to say that. You get what you pay for. Let me ask you this. Tell me about the most amazing burger you've ever had in your life. Where was the most amazing burger you've ever had in your life? Something that's such a delicious, or the last amazing, delicious burger that you've had. Where was it? Where'd you have it? What did it taste like? Think about that. Think about the last time you had a burger and it was absolutely amazing. It was delicious. It was wonderful. Tell me about that last burger that you had. If you think about that, the last burger you had that was delicious, it was perfect, it was amazing. Now I want you to think about a McDonald's double cheeseburger. Which one costs more? Why? So when you start thinking of those things, so which one costs more? And why was that? And would you be willing to pay that again for that burger? Absolutely, all day long. Why? Because you get what you pay for. And in the same regard with an agent, you get what you pay for. Now let's talk about selling a property fast. So you paying this person 4%, they're going to offer 2.5%. They're making less than the buyer's agent is going to make on this. They're making 1.5% whenever they sell your property. How likely is it that they're going to fight for the value of your property? How likely is that? Not very likely at all. I see that would be very likely that that person is going to fight for the value of your property because now they're only getting 1.5% of whatever that difference is that they sell it for. So if they sell it for $50,000 more, they're only getting 1.5% instead of 3% more on that. Number one. Number two, they just want to get it done quick. Look, I'm getting paid 50% of what I should be getting paid. So Mr. Seller, let me ask you this question. You go into work tomorrow, they tell you, hey, I need you to do everything you did yesterday, plus this, plus this, plus this, and I need you to take a 50% reduction in your pay. How likely are you to really bust your ass when you're there? Not likely. And there's nothing, that you could potentially lose your job, so you're going to do just enough to keep the job, but not enough to make a huge difference. Do you not think that it's going to be this hire an agent at 4% when they're making less than the buyer's agent on the other side? They're going to do just enough to get the job done, but not enough to make a difference in your life. That's a huge difference here when you're paying somebody 3% and 6%, and we're offering that to the other side. Huge difference. I have a fiduciary duty to you. Number one, I don't have a choice. No matter what I'm getting paid, I have to do those things. But since we're offering you a fiduciary duty, we're going to give you a higher level of representation, and it's going to cost a little bit more because you get what you pay for. And we will make sure by doing this, positioning, strategizing, making sure every buyer comes through, going through that whole process with them and telling them those things. There's a huge difference in that. And you can't say it because and when the power is in the story, if you tell them, you go to work tomorrow, you do this, and they tell you got to do all those things plus some, and you have to take a 50% pay cut, they're going to understand, yeah, I couldn't help but do that. And let's talk about the rest of it. I'm going to make that difference up more than likely. In so many different ways, I can make that difference up. I could give you 3 stories alone just in the last couple of weeks how we make that difference up. Number one, I'm going to make up that 1.5% difference between between the 1.5% that he makes and the 3% that we charge. I'm going to make that up. Why? Because on your $700,000 listing, that's $10,000. So what's the difference? I can tell you the last property that we started negotiating on and we started getting multiple offers on just by contacting every agent for the 5 days before our deadline, talking to each one, giving them little pokes and prods to get their offer in, to make sure that the buyer was bringing their highest and best offer. Please, we do have multiple offers. How many offers? I can't tell you that. I can't tell you. It's a very desirable property, though. Going through all of those things and kind of pushing them to that point of that deadline and using it as an auction type atmosphere, we got offers that went up and raised their offer by $10,000 alone, sometimes even more. The highest jump we had was a $20,000 jump. So just one simple thing like that, because I'm invested in this with you, that I can do those things and I can get them at a higher price. So I'm going to make that difference up. Number one, right there. Number two, appraisals or inspections. Pre-loved inspection, identify those issues. They're not going to be retrading. Tell you about the last one that we had. They went in, they came in at like $60,000 over the asking price. And all they did once they did their inspection, they did it to buy the contract, then to buy that contract and get it under contract by going 60,000 over. And all they did was retrade, drop the 60,000 off. I'm telling you, we're going to be able to get rid of that problem by doing the pre-loved inspection. It's only going to cost you $400 or $500 to do it. And we're going to be able to alleviate the possibility of getting that $60,000 retrade later. Something like that can be very, very powerful. So right there, I've already saved you $70,000 just in this one option. Then the appraisal. I'm going to fight, claw, tooth, and nail. I'm going to fight tooth and nail to make sure that I get your value up as high as possible. Features, benefits, comps. I'm going to be making sure I maximize every single contract that's every single pending, sold, active, showing the appraisal to justify the trajectory of this market so that he sees this property as valuable too. That potentially could be a difference of $5,000 to $10,000. And then negotiating through those offers, which ones are waiving appraisals, which ones are paying over appraisals, which ones are paying for your title insurance. All of those things alone are going to help me to make up that 1.5% difference. No questions. I have no question that I'll be able to make that difference up for you just by representing you properly through this transaction. And Survey Eagle inspections will get paid at closing for a full pre-listing inspection. Absolutely. So we talked about it's going to sell fast. Why should I pay you that? You can. Well, my question to them, and this was Ray Monahan reiterated it for me too when we were talking the other day, is he goes, why am I going to pay you 6%? The home's just going to sell so fast anyway. I'm like, well, my neighbor's home, they sold it in one day. I'm like, well, is selling it fast really a good thing? I don't know. I'm just asking. Is it a good thing? Because if you sell your home fast, that means you probably took one of the first few offers on the table. You know, especially if you sold it in the first day. He got it first. Yeah, but he sold it over asking price. I've got a whole bag of stories, a whole bag of, these are truths of contracts and offers that came in 5 and 10 grand over asking price within the first day or two on Wednesday or Thursday. But by Sunday's deadline at 7 p.m., we had offers $20,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 over the asking price. So I'm going to sell it fast. I don't want to sell it fast, honestly. Selling it fast, selling it in 7 days is still selling it fast. Still selling it fast. Selling it in 10 days, selling it in 30 days is still selling it fast. A 30-day supply of homes, your home selling in 30 days, a 1-month supply of homes is still selling a home really, really fast. So the fact that we have to keep it on market for 5 to 10 days to make sure we get the best offer and we maximize that, and you give me that opportunity to be an auctioneer per se with all of these offers, going back and forth, letting them know about the deadline. And thanks so much for submitting your offer. I noticed you didn't include this. Could you make sure you do that? They're going to ask questions about the offer. I can't give them those answers, but I can tell them, well, it's a very desirable property. Everybody's really interested in this one. They've made some significant offers to make sure that they got this property, and giving them some of that, making it an auction process again. We talked earlier, cash buyers, how do they influence their customers? So think about this. When we talked about influence, we talked about how you influence people. People buy with emotion, justify with logic. What does the cash buyer try and sell the sell on? So you're worried about charging 6% commission, right? You're worried about that. You have that on your mind. It's on a lot of our minds. You don't have that confidence about it all the time. So you're worried about charging 6% commission. These cash buyers are charging anywhere from 4 to 11% fees. And some of them are offering pretty decent prices, but it's probably lower than what they're going to get on the market. But most of them, they're offering below market value, 5 or 10% below market value, and still charging a 5 to 11% fee. So I'm offering you less. I'm charging you the same or more than what you would do putting it on the market. And they have no quarrel about it. But what are they selling them on? None of their ads say, we'll give you a shitty offer and hope that you take it, or we're going to charge you this much commission. They don't talk about that. What they talk about is the emotional side of it. What is the most stressful moving? Showings, getting the property ready, keeping the property show ready, going through an inspection, making repairs, waiting for a buyer to get qualified, moving. Every single one of those things is in their ads. They don't talk about the other things. They make the connection first. They influence the seller first. They connect with the seller first emotionally. And once they have that emotional connection, the seller starts making it logical in their head why they would accept a lower offer and why they would pay them, why they would accept a lower offer and why they would pay that kind of commission. Oh man, they just had a tractor trailer run into the bridge out here. Good job. But anyway, so that's how they're doing it. Buy with emotion, justify with logic. That's why we get questions. That's why we tell stories. That's why we go through all that to connect them, to get that connection with them. So because then they'll logisticize it themselves. John, who had I talked about paying at closing because I asked Survey Eagle, but my sellers had to pay $500 a survey up front for certified pre-love full inspection and termite. Well, they typically do charge, but then if you bring that to them, they do give you that option. How about Zillow offers recently? In my market, they were making offers $50K above highest sale in neighborhoods. Brian, yes, that's true. So some of the cash offers are making significant offers. Their offer may be $50,000 above, but then they're also charging their fees as well. So they're going to charge a 5, 7, 8%. I'm not sure what it is there. So they're going to charge those fees as well. So when the seller charges that, it's not, they're paying that much over, but then they're taking that off. They do an inspection. Sometimes they beat the price up on that a little bit, and it's going to end up somewhere around retail. And Zillow, what they're banking on, and usually they do that. Usually Zillow will do that when they already have another home under contract in that neighborhood. We've seen it with OfferPad. We've seen it with Opendoor. I've seen it with Zillow. If they already have another home somewhere in that neighborhood under contract, closed, or in their possession, they will make better offers and higher offers on homes because they know what they paid for one and they know what they're going to list it at, and they're creating a market. So when they buy and have 2, 3, 4 homes in a market area and they start raising those prices, they know that I've got another one that's smaller coming up at that price, so I'm just going to jack that price up. We're going to create a market. Buyers are going to buy it or they're not. And guess what they don't have to pay on their side? They don't pay a hefty commission. They don't pay a hefty listing agent side commission. The listing agent they get like 1.5%. If they get 2%, they're giving a referral back to Zillow too. So they're not paying a ton of fees. They're not paying any of that. They've got limited costs. They've got their systems down. So their costs are going to be limited, but they're working on creating a market. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I got for today. If you have any other questions, comments, issues, concerns, please feel free to reach out to us. I hope you guys have an awesome day. And again, if you need anything, we're always available. Thank you. Have a wonderful Wednesday.